need to put ourselves in another place because there are things that we've been through, maybe going through, that we can help somebody else in. But you've got to get rid of this pride now because there are young boys out there. I was talking with a young lady yesterday, and she was saying how her daughter, at 4 years old, she said, she's demon possessed. Like, what? You said about your daughter? She said, yeah, she's demon possessed. No, that ain't her personality. She got demons in her. And her mama didn't seem to be bothered by it. It was okay that girl had demons. And you could tell, based on the behavior, the little girl was demon possessed. Her mama knew what she was talking about, but her mama wasn't willing to go anywhere where there was any help for her. She'd take her to the, Department of Social Services, and they give her some medication, but she's not going to bring her to where somebody can pray for her and help get that stuff out of her. She's not going to do that. If she does go to a ministry, she's going to go where they don't deal with that, just so she can get some comfort so that she can, just kind of put up with it. Because people have lost what the Bible truly says about what we're supposed to be doing. And folks, we got to come back to the reality of the Word. Let's look at some things real quick. Isaiah chapter 1. And I'm going to read verse 19, then we're going to look at some things that to help us better understand how this whole thing flows. He said, if ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land. But if ye refuse and rebel, ye shall be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it. Now, the word willing there is the word ana, and it means to acquiesce, means to come under subjection to consent, to rest in yourself with what you have decided you're going to do, willing, to be positively inclined to respond to some authority or position. So this does not say that this is something you're going to do. This is not the act. This is just a turning towards and a willingness to do what has been put in front of you. Willing. I'm thinking about this, and I'm willing to do this. Don't quite know how. Don't quite know how to get it done, but I'm willing. And then he said, willing and obedient. The word obedient is the word shama, and it means to hear intelligently, often with the implication of attention, means to listen. So he said the first thing you have to do, you have to acquiesce. You have to bring your mind down so you stop thinking the way you think about whatever the situation is. Because you'll never find any way to get out of it if you at least don't start to look in another direction. When somebody gives you something, you'll always stay up under whatever bondage you're under. And if you're in a place of bondage and your thinking is the same as it's been for the length of time you've been in that bondage, then, just the law of averages says you ought to change your mind about something so you can start to see something different. So you got to be willing. You got to acquiesce. That means that the first thing I have to do is say, okay, I don't really know about this. I don't fully understand this. I'm not necessarily wanting to do this, but I am going to settle down and at least hear what you have to say about it. Then when you become obedient, that means that while you have got your mind out of that hard place, now you can hear intelligently. You see, when you have made your mind up the way you're going to be hard, you cannot hear intelligently. You're going to hear with tunnel vision. Everything somebody tells you is going to go in that tunnel vision, and you're going to kick it out the other side or kick it back out the same way it came in. But when you're hearing intelligently, intelligently means that you have the ability to process. You can move the information back and forth. Now, if you have not been willing, your mind will not move the information back and forth. Your mind will simply stop it and kick it back. It'll never come in. So if we want to be eat the good of the land, we've got to be willing and obedient. In other words, you've got to be willing to listen to some things that may not be what you think. You've got to be able to take that information and then let somebody else tell you what it means, how to process it, and then you let your intellect start to work on it. And what it will do, your own intellect will tear out things that are not good for you any longer. And you'll start to see ways to move forward. And what God will do, He will many times let that information come to you and reprocess your thinking later on. And you'll wake up thinking that you came up with it. He'll let you fool yourself that way because you're so proud you don't want anybody to tell you anything. So he'll let you think, I woke up this morning and I thought so and so and so. And he'll let you even forget that somebody else told you because you haven't let your pride get out of the way. They said, they told me so and so and so. And then you'll find yourself talking about that thing and saying things and telling the very people that told you what it was, what the Lord showed you. And they're looking at you like, I can't believe you. I told you that. But see, you couldn't get it if it didn't come from a process in you. So you have to hear intelligently, even if you stay full of pride. You have to work your brain. In other words, you got to trick yourself to get certain things to work. Because the human is fearfully and wonderfully made, and once we failed, we became so perverted. The things that should work straightforwardly, they fishtail all over the place. And we have to use a lot of Holy Ghost wisdom to get you to see things because there's some things you just won't take if you don't believe you came up with it. There's some things you won't take if certain people doesn't tell you. We can tell you this, but you go hear it from somebody else, all of a sudden it is the gospel. But you heard it over here first. But see, that's the way this mind has been programmed, and if you've been programmed not to hear from a female, first thing you're going to say is, oh, she ain't got no sense. She don't know what she's talking about. Well, if your mama raised you, somebody had some sense. Somebody has some sense. If she raised you, and then some of that crazy stuff you got, you may have got it from some other goofy people hanging on the corner. So God is saying, if you're willing and obedient, you'll eat the good of the land. Now, what I want you to think about for just a moment, to eat the good of the land, he's talking to his people. So that means that there's good stuff already in the land, but other people are eating it.